Good evening and welcome along to our US markets review brought to you by SG Futures. Going to be a really super quick video for you this week, given that we've got a presidential election coming up across Tuesday and Wednesday, and depending on how the result goes, it may drag out into the end of next week and into the following week, who knows. But as we run into this week, into a new week and a new month, we're now 2 months to the end of the year. And we're 1 month into our final quarter of the year. And as we've come into this week, I will just highlight some of the candles that we've seen this week. So this is our daily candlestick chart on the ES, just covering the daily cash session. We had a pretty significant gap down on Monday. It wasn't as bearish as I thought it might have been when we finally got trading. I really think maybe Wednesday and Thursday were more bearish in the latter half of the week. And we gapped down after some significant increases really in Europe around the reaction to the spread of the coronavirus, really. And there was just a real risk-off tone as the week went on, and that's probably tied with the general election, the fact that the stimulus bill didn't look like it was going to happen. It kind of didn't really look like it was going to happen last week either. But really got confirmation that it's really not going to happen until probably the next week to 10 days. So very much after the general election. So one thing that is important as we've come into this week, I've marked off a level in here which is 32.47, and this is actually our calendar year open. So this actually decides on whether we're up on the year or down on the year, and it's a level that we spent a lot of time around in Friday session, and it's one that as we go back in time and we look at the tail end of July, the 20th of July, we literally closed right on the nose of that level. We broke above it, then we closed above it, and then we closed below it. And this is an area that we've been sort of fighting with, and it is very significant. And again on Friday we have flirted with it, we've traded down below, and I think pretty significantly we've closed above it. Does that mean I think we're now off to the races from a bull's point of view? No, it doesn't. I think that there's so we really just need clarity from an election point of view. We need to have some definitive outcome as to who's won. So really the best thing for the bulls in this market is a very clear and resounding victory for one candidate or the other. That's really what's going to be good from a bullish point of view. But this is what we were gifted with this week, and it was a real risk off, as I said, all week. We came in on Monday. We had a bit of a hammer day from a candle point of view, and then the next day, whilst it was an inside day, we really closed on the lows, and I really felt on Tuesday that there was further business to be done, and then lo and behold on Wednesday, we gapped down. I think it was like 50-60 handles, but we consolidated down here, and then on Thursday we had a bit of rotation. We tested some of the highs. We went into the gap, went into the neckline of the head and shoulders, pretty much came off it, and then actually closed down on the lows. It was really, really difficult to make a compelling argument to why you'd want to be significantly long or exposed from a long point of view or short point of view, but very much from a long point of view approaching a general election. And it was really just a week that was as messy as it was going to get. Then on Friday we had a little bit of a positive tone. Well, you could call it a positive tone at the tail end of the session. It looked that way, but really it just felt like there was just a short covering rally, and the short covering rally tells you who is in the market. They're all the weekends, they're all the day traders. This isn't the other time frame. This was just people who have maybe gotten short on Thursday and were just getting out on a Friday. And that's really where a lot of that rally was. As we get into the profile, we're going to see some nuances about what went down on the ES this week. So when we look from an ES weekly point of view, we're just going to mark out the weekly profile here. Is what we do every week. Really, really messy, ugly weekly profile, which is kind of what we'd expect. We have a big gap in the middle here that remains unfilled. Again, as we get the election out of the way, I think this is something that we will look to fill out. I think 3300 to 33,380 will be levels that I think that will be relevant. but that's really just from an upside point of view. But a really, really ugly profile, and I think the coming weeks will start to fill in these areas in here. When we look at a daily profile point of view, so we look at everything that went down from a daily point of view, we can see here on Monday we came in, we gapped down on the A period, and we pretty much sold off, but we closed in the upper half of value, which is really, really interesting, in the value area high. I mentioned last week that we had pretty much 5 days of overlapping value. When we mark it off in here, you can see the previous week we had value here, value here, value here, value here, value here, and it's all overlapping, which tells us that there's pretty good value around these particular prices. Then what we got on Monday was the value break, and the value broke to the downside, so it was a clean break in value. If we were to mark out this particular line in here, so the value area high, we really broke away from this value area up here. But then on the Tuesday, we had an inside day and overlapping value. And then on Wednesday, we had a further value break. So this is really just the context of that there was no one really willing to nail their colours to the mast, particularly from a long point of view, and there were just weak hands on both sides of the trade this week. And I think, judging by the low amount of volume that we're going through this market, I think it was inevitable that we're going to see a significant pullback. There are some nuances which I will get into just on the very end of the market profile that tell us that maybe the sellers weren't as strong as they thought they were, which I will get to in a minute. When we look at Thursday, we had overlapping value with Wednesday, and then on Friday we had again another value break. We spent quite a lot of time below the 2020 open, so the opening price in the year 2020. We spent a lot of time below that, but we closed, interestingly enough, inside the range of Thursday, actually inside of value from Thursday, which is, if there wasn't a general election on the horizon in 2 days, I would say that is significant, and I would be making a plan around that. But given what is coming up on the horizon, I am choosing to admit that is significant, but I'm probably not going to take any action on the back of it. So that's what things look like from a daily profile point of view, sort of a bird's eye view. When we actually get into the nuance of what happened, we look at our daily profile in here, and we have our Globex session from Thursday night, just in this column here, and then this is our cash session on Friday, and you can see that in the M period, we got right back into Thursday's value area in here, and we closed within the value area low of Thursday, which is significant. We're closing in the value of Wednesday's value area as well. So if we didn't have the general election, this would be significant. So we'll notice as well in here is we have our overlapping value from Tuesday and Wednesday from the clean break, and our VPOX actually went higher on Wednesday, but then when we really get into the weeds on Friday, we can see that whilst we had a clean break in value to the downside, and we mark at our 32.47 level in here as being important, we had a close up in here, which is 32.78, again really significant, but the best place to do business was this particular price down here at 32.42, and this is where the market decided that from a volume point of view, that was the fairest price to do business. So we have a real value break, and if there wasn't a general election on the horizon, I would probably be coming in a little bit more bearish of this market, given what is playing out in front of us. What is significant is on Friday, and this is one of the things I noted on Twitter, when we break out our profile chart into each node having its own column, we can see that on the Globex low from Thursday night in H period, we only went 3 or 4 ticks below that, which is significant. If we didn't get near it, it would mean one thing. So if we'd maybe traded a couple of ticks higher and then rebounded, that would be quite a bullish signal. If we traded it literally to the tick, I would say there's definitely some unfinished business there, but the fact that we went through it by 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks, so one handle through it, and we didn't take it lower, that tells us that the sellers really aren't that strong in here. For me, this is an unfinished auction. I think these prices get auctioned again. And I think with any sort of risk-off narrative when the markets open later this evening, I think we go back down here. I think from a cash market point of view, it would be healthy during an RTH session that we trade back across these prices again and try and build out some proper value and repair this structure, because this auction feels a little bit unfinished and this low down here feels a little bit weak. So that's how things look from a weekly point of view. Given the week that is in it, I'm not going to spend too much time on the stocks that reported last week. I will look into it in next week's video. I think we just kind of need to get the first half of this week out of the way, and then we'll get some clarity on where some stocks are currently priced and where we might see them going in the short to medium term. So we'll leave it there. Hope you all have a great week and happy trading.